Today, you're going to see the worst movies in the history of cinema. Movies so bad they shouldn't exist. Nonsensical plots, performances that verge on unintentional parody, and creative decisions that only make sense if we assume the team was high. Some of them tried to be box office hits. Others, adaptations that betrayed everything that made them great. Some even aimed to be masterpieces. And then there are cases where it's not even clear how they got released at all. Pink Flamingos is the most disgusting movie in history, and also one of the worst. The plot follows Divine, a drag queen who decides to become the most repugnant being on the planet. The synopsis alone doesn't promise much, but the film is unbearable, ugly, without art or message. It's true the director wanted to provoke, and he did. But provoking is not the same as having something to say. Having your actor eat dog shit on camera is not art. It's not a brave gesture. It's exactly that, a shit scene. It's easy to call anything art and invent a purpose for it, but this is the clearest example that not everything is valid. The movie is unwatchable, disgusting, repulsive. It contributes nothing to society or the viewer. If anything, what it contributes is negative. Even though it's now considered an underground cult film, there's no mentally stable person who could like this movie. It's simply an empty film, in bad taste, hiding behind the excuse of being provocative or groundbreaking, when in reality, it's just a piece of crap.
And it is my privilege to say that...
Enough! Enough of this stupid bickering! The child must die!
Manos, The Hands of Fate isn't just a bad movie. It's straight up a mistake, a cinematic aberration made by a guy who had no idea how to make a movie. The sound cuts in and out randomly, the dialogues sound like they were written by a drunk homeless guy, and the story, if you can even call it a story, goes nowhere. To make things worse, it was filmed with cameras that didn't record sound, so it had to be dubbed afterwards, and badly. The actors perform like they don't even know they're being filmed. The camera shakes in every shot, and there are scenes that go on for minutes where absolutely nothing happens. No tension, no horror, no meaning. The creature called Torgo walks like he's got a hernia, and the supposed villain, the Master, looks like a retired magician from a kid's party. Manos is a film that should never have left the garage where it was shot. Watching it all the way through isn't an experience. It's a test of endurance. And the worst part, it's not ironic. It's not self-aware. It really thought it was good. I saw the Minecraft movie in theaters recently, and it's one of the worst things I've ever seen. I don't understand how anyone can defend it. Some say, well, a Minecraft movie was never going to promise much, and they're right. But even with low expectations, this is a disaster. They made some kind of Jumanji knockoff, mixing the real world with the Minecraft world. The plot is just an excuse to string together scenes designed for a generation addicted to TikTok. And even though the movie is full of constant stimuli, it somehow manages to be incredibly boring. It's a parody without humor, following every cliché of bad cinema. And of course, in the Minecraft world, they ignore all the rules, doing whatever they want, with zero respect for the game. This movie feels like a reflection of today's society, full of noise and empty content, with the only goal being to keep you hooked without giving you anything. I just hope this isn't the first step toward full-on brain rot cinema made for TikTok addicts. Dragon Ball Evolution isn't just a bad adaptation, it's an insult. They took one of the most iconic franchises in history and turned it into a generic, absurd, cowardly movie. Goku isn't Goku. He's a high school teen with hair gel who blushes over girls and goes to prom. Characters who, in the original series, have the power to destroy planets, here use guns. Piccolo shoots lasers that look like they're from Power Rangers. The entire Dragon Ball universe is reduced to poorly choreographed fight scenes, a boring hunt for magic balls, and dialogue that sounds like it was scribbled on a napkin during lunch. And the worst part? They were serious about it. This isn't a parody. They thought they were making a blockbuster. And the result is so ridiculous it isn't even funny. It's just sad. The screenwriter publicly apologized years later, admitting he barely knew the original franchise. This movie wasn't made with love. It was made by people who understood nothing. Cats is a digital nightmare. $100 million mistake no one has managed to understand. It's not just bad, it's uncomfortable. Every shot is cringe-inducing. Every decision feels like it was made by a crab. They took a weird musical, filled with humanoid cats dancing in a nonsensical world, and turned it into a CGI orgy gone wrong. The bodies look human, but with fake fur, floating faces, and tails that move like they have a mind of their own. It's disturbing. The actors look lost. Idris Elba acts like he's naked in a fever dream. Judi Dench stares into the camera like she's begging for help, and Rebel Wilson peels her skin off mid-song. And that's just the surface. The plot doesn't exist. It's just cats introducing themselves one by one until one of them floats into the sky in a hot air balloon. Literally. Cats is the perfect example that having a massive budget doesn't mean you have a good idea. It's a visual aberration with delusions of grandeur. And the worst part? They really thought they were making history. Death Note on Netflix is one of the worst adaptations in history. It betrays the masterpiece that is the original anime and turns it into some kind of soulless, brain-dead teen thriller. Light is no longer a manipulative, charismatic, and attractive genius. He's a loser who gets scared of the Notebook like he's in a cheap horror flick. L, who in the anime is the whitest, palest person imaginable, is black in this movie. A decision clearly made to please a handful of idiots, at the cost of betraying the original work and its fans. The direction is chaotic. The script feels like it was written by someone who skimmed the synopsis on Wikipedia, and everything moves forward like no one cares. The psychological duel between Light and L, the best part of the original, is completely gone. The story has nothing to do with the original series, and it's aggressively bad. This is the perfect example that live-action adaptations are already trash by default, but even worse when made by people who don't understand what they're adapting. Super Mario Bros. Is the worst adaptation cinema has ever produced. They took the most iconic video game in history and turned it into a grim, dirty, colorless, soulless mess. Mario and Luigi are no longer friendly plumbers. They're two random guys lost in an alternate New York full of sticky fungus, cyberpunk prostitutes, and humanoid dinosaurs. Bowser isn't a turtle monster. He's just some guy with a machine gun. And yes, at the climax, he briefly turns into a cheap-looking T-Rex, only to be defeated in seconds. The Goombas are massive bodies with tiny heads, like parodies of themselves. And the movie has no humor, no adventure, no coherence, just chaos, noise, and decisions that feel like they were made by a committee who have never played Mario Bros. In their lives. There's no worse way to adapt something. This is the greatest abomination cinema has given us. Taking a children's video game full of fantasy and turning it into a 90s film with hideous effects, guns, and dumb creative choices. And the real reason Mario and Luigi don't eat mushrooms in this movie is because the writers took them all. Birdemic doesn't feel like a movie. It feels like a school project made with Movie Maker and zero supervision. It's a love story with killer birds in 3D. Except there's no 3D, no love, and no story. The effects are the worst thing ever put on a screen. Birds that float, spin in the air like badly pasted animated stickers. When they attack, it sounds like someone banging two spoons together. The actors seem like they're reading the script for the first time, out loud. There are endless silences between lines. Shots are badly framed. The audio goes up and down randomly. Scenes drag on far beyond what any human should be forced to endure. And the worst part? It was meant to be serious. The director wanted to make an environmental warning, a message-driven horror film. What he ended up making is an unintentional comedy that's embarrassing from minute one. Birdemic isn't just bad, it's a slow-motion train wreck, and proof that owning a camera doesn't make you a filmmaker. The Room isn't just bad, it's legendary bad. And the craziest part is, it was 100% sincere. Tommy Wiseau didn't want to make a silly comedy. He wanted to make a deep, intense, emotional drama. He literally said his work was like a streetcar named Desire. That alone tells you how disconnected from reality he was. The dialogue sounds like it was written by someone who's never heard another human speak. The plot collapses constantly, with subplots that appear and vanish without explanation. Lines repeat for no reason. Characters show up with no names. And the sex scenes are so long and uncomfortable, they feel like punishment. But what makes The Room special is that it truly believes it's a masterpiece. Every look, every gesture from Tommy carries the weight of someone who thinks they're making history. And somehow, he did. The Room isn't a movie. It's an emotional accident captured with absolute conviction. And that's why it's one of the worst and most unforgettable films ever made. Disaster Movie is the worst film ever made. And I'm not exaggerating. There's not a single thing that works. Not one. There's no script, no pacing, no sense of humor. It's just a series of ridiculous, disconnected scenes, mocking other films with shallow references and fart jokes. They parody things that don't even make sense. Iron Man shows up. Hannah Montana, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Juno, Batman. All thrown together with no order or logic, like someone yelling out pop culture names and screaming, "That's funny!" The actors overact to absurd levels. The scenes feel like they were improvised by teenagers with attention disorders. And the humor is so low effort, it's shameful to be part of the same species as the people who wrote it. Disaster movie is the death of comedy. It doesn't make you laugh. It makes you sit in silence, then feel existential pain. It's definitive proof that yes, a film can be made with no soul, no ideas, and no talent, and still get released. That was the video. To make up for the garbage I've shown you today, check out one of my videos on the best films of all time. See you next time.